Hey everyone, it's Marla. Thank you for joining me once again. We are going to do a twin flame energy report today, and we are going to focus on the Aries New Moon and the Libra Full Moon. There is so much stuff happening for twin flames this year, and I can't wait to share it all with you. I'm going to be doing a couple separate videos about what's coming and the things that are starting in April and the eclipses and some cycles that are ending, and it's a lot. So I'm going to try to break it down into several videos. And the first thing we have to talk about are these moons that are happening in April, leading us into the eclipses. Now, there's actually 3 moons in April, which is um, very positive energy as well. 2 new moons, one in Aries and one in Taurus, the 1st of April and the 30th of April, and then a Libra full moon in the middle on the 15th, no, the 16th, which is actually on the Saturday between Good Friday and Easter. So before I get into the video, I do have an announcement to make, and I want to let those of you who are tarot influencers, if you have a tarot channel and you use the Intuit Twin Flame Oracle, or really any of the Intuit Oracle cards, I want to let you know that Intuit has started an affiliate program, and it's a really great program. There is no fee to sign up, and what happens is you sign up to be an affiliate, you get your own link to post under your videos, and then if people that watch your videos buy through your link, you're able to get a percentage of the sales. And it's a pretty generous percentage, I think. And there's no minimum that you have to sell, unlike Amazon, which requires that you have a minimum in order to participate in their affiliate program. And if you didn't know, Intuit is a small company. It's owned by my 2 friends, and they're both twin flames. So you would be supporting a twin flame company versus, well, I mean, I was going to say versus Amazon, but of course you can be an Amazon affiliate too. You don't have to choose, but yeah, think about supporting them, supporting their decks. And also, there is a link below for 10% off the Twin Flame Oracle or any of the Intuit decks. And if you're in the US, they are having free shipping right now too. So check them out. Okay, now on to what is happening. Like I said, there's a lot happening. There's big shifts happening for twin flames this year. I don't say that lightly, guys, but um, I have to share the things that I've been getting. And in order not to overwhelm, we've got to break it down a little bit. So let's focus on these 2 moons and what is happening. So on the equinox, I posted a channeled message from Isis. I hope you read it. If not, I can link that message below. And in it, Isis told me that humanity was ready to step out of the karmic cycle and into a creator cycle. She called it a free will cycle. What that means is that the karmic cycle has broken down enough that we are no longer being held back by that cycle. And a lot of it was actually of our own making, because um, the karmic timelines have been breaking down for a while, but we still believed in the programming of a karmic cycle, and so we were holding ourselves there. And we have an opportunity to free ourselves from that so that we can begin to, instead of having to play these karmic loops out over and over again, we can become the creators of our reality. And that's really about reclaiming our power, reclaiming our sovereignty, and no longer letting things outside of ourselves control us. This is a very, very important cycle, and it's very important for twin flames. This is something that twin flames have been waiting on. And a lot of twins, especially the divine masculine, were still playing out these old karmic cycles, and they were waiting for this shift to happen. And now we're at this choice point where we no longer have to stay in those karmic situations, but we can choose a new way, a new timeline, a timeline of higher consciousness. So at the equinox, I saw that new timelines were being anchored, and at this new moon in Aries, the timelines are being reset. And what comes with that reset is a choice point, and there's going to be more than one choice point. So don't worry about it. Don't get too caught up in that. But it's like we're choosing what timelines, what system we want to continue in. The biggest reason I see that is because this new moon, which is at 11 degrees of Aries, is conjunct Chiron by less than 1 degree. And Chiron is the bridge. Chiron is known as the rainbow bridge. Chiron is so connected to our multidimensionality. And astrologically, he connects Saturn and Uranus, the inner planets and the outer planets. And he's helping us bridge from the old way. Think about the Saturnian way. Saturn rules karma, and bridging that and moving into the more Uranian way, which is the frequency of the age of Aquarius. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we have a lot of planets squaring the nodes at this new moon. The biggest one is Saturn, and Saturn is going to be squaring the nodes all year. And that's why I said there will be more than one choice point, but Saturn is helping us build the new foundation of our new life. And Saturn, as the Lord of Karma, is helping us clear out the old cycle and helping us make that new choice. So when a planet is squaring the nodes, right, because the nodes are an axis, I can never say that word right, an axis point. They're always opposite each other. And then Saturn being in the middle, it's like you can access the south node and the north node equally. Now, often when you have a planet squaring your nodes, for example, in your natal chart, that's showing that there's something unresolved from your other lifetimes that you have to resolve. And indeed, that's what Saturn is bringing here, especially at the beginning of the year, in April, and with the eclipses. Saturn is saying, like, what are you grounding? What are you building here? What are you choosing? Are you choosing the south node, the old ways, the old programming, the old you? Or are you choosing the north node? Are you choosing a new way of doing things? And because the north node is starting to come into a conjunction with Uranus, this is going to help us as well make that bridge. So that's how this choice is coming up. But right now, at this Aries new moon, there's a lot of planets squaring the nodes. Mars, Saturn, Juno, and Venus are all squaring the nodes. And think about those planets. Juno is the asteroid that rules relationships. And then we have Mars, which we can look at has the masculine energy. Venus, that we can look at, has the feminine energy. Mars is actually the ruler of the new moon. But it's like, how are we relating to other people? Both of these moons have to do with how are we relating to others in relation to ourselves? What are we creating? What do we want to create? What kind of relationships and partnerships and community do we want to have with us in the future? So, all of these are going to be big questions, and you might have situations come up that, whether you realize it or not, are connected to your past lives, or they're definitely going to be connected to your old story, your programming, those things that you always tell yourself when things aren't going your way or you're not happy, because it's time to let that go. If you're choosing the new way, you cannot keep going into that old story. You have to drop it. So there's going to be clearing, and there's going to be activations for sure throughout the month of April. Those will mostly be coming in through the solar energies. There'll probably be some star energies coming in too. If you want to know more of that, then you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And when I get downloads about what kind of light codes are coming in, I try to post about that. So, yeah, that's really like the major thing that's happening at the Aries new moon. Now, something that my higher self said to me here is, think about waking up 10, 20 years from the future, and your life is exactly like it is today. How do you feel about that? Would that be a life that you want? Because that's kind of the choice. You can stay as you are, but are you really truly happy? Is that what you want? Or would you like to create something new? What would you want to create? Because really you're getting an opportunity to create exactly what you want. Now you have a vortex. You have everything that you've ever desired in that vortex. And now we're more able, with this new energy, to start manifesting that and bringing those things in. And you're going to start to see yourself, if you choose this way, to begin to manifest things much more easier. I know a lot of you have been not clear on things, not sure where you're going. You're going to start getting more clarity in April, and you're going to start getting more directions. Some of the things that you'll be looking at will be authority, stability, partnership, love, abundance, drive, freedom. Who is in your life and what you value. So remember, the North Node is in Taurus, and I talked about this in my video on the nodes being in Taurus and Scorpio. A big thing that we're facing here with that cycle is, what do we value? What is truly important in our life? What are our morals? And are we living what we value? Are we really living our morality? And is that really yours, or is it something that society has placed on you? A lot of people have not even really delved into what they value or what their morals are. They either are unclear, or they just accept whatever authority figure has told them what this should be. But if you're moving into that new cycle, you have to have a solid foundation in this. You have to have a solid foundation in your values and the things that you value, because when you move into the creator role, you have to be aligned with your higher self. You have to be aligned with the will of God, because everything that you're manifesting has to be of the highest order. It has to be pure energy from your heart. Otherwise, you're not going to like the things that you're creating in your life. Trust me, you will not be happy. So, and really, when we talk about law of attraction, for example, and there's a lot out there about law of attraction, just as much or more than things said about twin flames, and all of it is not really accurate or true or in the highest vibration. So you really have to use your discernment. But how I see law of attraction is not running around creating my every whim, but it's that alignment with higher self. And Abraham talks about this a lot, right? When you're aligned to what you want to manifest, what you're aligned with is your inner being. You're aligned with that part of you that is a reflection or a piece of source energy. So, what you're creating is always of the purest intention. And that's why that piece about our values and the things that we value is important. So if you're more in your south node energy, then what you're dealing with is probably power struggles, having to face your hidden motivations, being controlled by others, or others being in charge of your financial situation, your money. Um, Perhaps you're overly influenced by the material world. Those types of energies show that you're more geared to towards your south node at the moment. So yeah, with Saturn squaring the nodes, we're setting the foundation down as we walk the bridge from our old selves into our new self, the new self where we are totally in control. So this is a cycle that twin flames have been waiting to end because we're ready to move on from any kind of karmic cycle that's been holding us back. Especially the divine masculine in particular has been held back, like literally, by the energy. We've not been able to come together, most people anyways, that's, this has all been breaking down, but we need to be able to release ourselves from the karmic cycle and choose the new path. So that's why this energy is so interesting for twins, because you're going to see now people making their choices about what they want to do. They are free now. So the planets are really speaking to us during April at these two moons, and they're speaking to us through the Sabian symbols. So what I want to do is go through the Sabians with you, and that will get us deeper into the energy. So the energy of the new moon itself is a flock of wild geese. And I see the Sabian as being a conflict between our inner self and the group. If you think about geese, right, they tend to gather together in flocks. Now, this is showing us something about our free will. Remember, the new moon is in Aries, and Aries really has to do with our free will. And it's that Mars energy and our desires. So it makes sense that it's going to be the Aries new moon and the start of a new solar cycle where this energy comes in. But, when you're switching into this cycle, there's a balance that you have to find between yourself and the group, but you always have to come back to your external world, and the way people are around you has to do with your inner world. If you are not clear inside, if you have distorted energy inside, that's going to be reflected back to you by the people around you. But um, don't be surprised if this kind of inner conflict comes up in you as you begin to start to navigate in the new cycle. So, Mercury is on the Sabian symbol. A teacher gives new symbolic form to traditional images. And Mercury is also very close to the new moon. It's at 9 degrees. They're at 9, 11, and Chiron's at 12, respectively. So they're grouped together there very tightly. And so Mercury is telling us that what's happening is we're breaking away from the old way of thinking. That is so important, so key to going in this new direction. Now, Chiron, as I said, is so important, and Chiron is going to be important throughout the year as well as we go through this cycle. And Chiron is on the degree. A bomb which failed to explode is now safely hidden from discovery. And we've talked about this Sabian before several times, I think. So this is going to be important because there's something that's going to happen that you're not expecting. Now, I don't want you to think that it's necessarily a negative thing. I mean, we tend to think about a bomb as being negative, of course, but it's like that breaking down and breaking away can also be something that's happening. Remember, in April, we're already in the eclipse window. So it's not like we have to wait till after the eclipse. It will already be in effect. So basically, it's like anything can happen. And what I've been getting from my guides, and you probably have too, is prepare yourself for surprises because you are not going to be expecting the things that start to manifest in your life, and you're not going to be expecting how they're manifesting. Maybe I should say you will kind of know what you're manifesting because you know the things that you've been wanting to manifest because you've been putting it in your vortex, but maybe not the how. And the how things manifest, as I've said before, that's not our business. The universe is going to take care of that. We just need to make sure that we're keeping ourselves in alignment with the things that we want and we're not getting caught up in a lot of contrast. Also, this bomb represents things that have been hidden inside of us. Remember, Chiron is our wound. So, things that are being held within, held back, hidden from view, things that you've been ignoring or things that you haven't wanted other people to see. And I don't mean that like in a scary way. It's not like, you know, something that you don't want out is necessarily going to come out, but it's going to feel like a pressure cooker for you if you're not being yourself, if you're not living your truth, or if you're, in a life that is really not in alignment with who you have become. That energy can also be causing a lot of confusion. You might have to look at some hidden motivation and possibly even be causing you some anxiety as well. You're going to want to like release this energy. So around the eclipse, just pay attention and see what it is that comes up. But this energy of this degree, this bomb, or surprise, probably a nicer term. We could also think of it as like a tower moment in our lives. And again, those tower moments help us become that bridge. And those tower moments help us let the old us fall away so that we can step into the new way. I mean, really, this shift and the things that are going to start coming are very positive. So don't think of a negative, of course, is what I want to tell you. But this degree is going to be important because Chiron is going to cross this degree 3 times. So there'll be 3 different opportunities throughout the year to see what happens, to see what comes up around this energy, or what starts here in April may not be resolved until the end of the year. I think December is when Chiron makes the third pass over this. So if you set something into motion, you may be waiting for it all to finalize, and it's likely going to be something big. So, and when Chiron is going to be on this degree, I have it marked here, we'll be at the Taurus lunar eclipse and the Sagittarius new moon eclipse in November. So November will also be a big year for everybody, or a big month, I should say, for the year. Uranus is on the Sabian, a porter carrying a mountain of heavy baggage. So again, there's a metaphor here. You cannot take this baggage with you into your new timelines. You've got to let go of the baggage. And a lot of that baggage has to do with like things that you have felt responsible for when they really weren't your responsibility, right? When we become creators of our own reality, we're not responsible for what other people are creating, what other people are doing. We have to focus on the things that are aligned with us, and then we free other people as well to create the things that they want. You know, we don't need to hold people into our world. We don't need to hold them to the things that we want, but we let everybody have their freedom to create their own desires. So the North Node, of course, too, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the collective energies, because we don't need to be held in that anymore. And the more attention that we put on it, the stronger we create that. And I don't think any of you want to create more of that. However, that Sabian of Chiron about the bomb being safely hidden from view could be referring to something that comes out on the world stage. And then we have the North Node, which is on an Indian warrior riding fiercely with human scalps hanging at his belt. So this Sabian also referring to wars or battle. And really what I'm picking up here about the North Node is it's activating our sense of retribution. And retribution is something that has been very connected to the karmic cycle, right? It's an eye for an eye in the karmic cycle. What you do to me falls back to you. Well, in this new way, we have to end the idea that it's up to us to search out retribution. This is the only way that we are going to end violence in our society. We have to let go of the idea that if someone does something to us, we have to do something back to them. Okay, this is a big choice point here at this North Node for everybody. But we have to remember that love is not an eye for an eye. And what did Jesus teach us? To turn the other cheek. And if we truly want peace, if we want to live in a peaceful society, this is an idea that we have to start really taking on board and manifest. And that's not just when it comes to war, but when it comes to ideas of separation between all people. Yes, we have done wrong to each other in a lot of different ways. We've harmed each other. We've harmed each other as societies. And we could keep spinning those karmic stories over and over and over and over, and we can just never change. We can never go anywhere. We can keep exactly where we are, or we can choose to forgive. We can choose a new way. Um, and we can choose love and moving on, a way where we're all equal, you know? But it's going to take that. It's going to take this letting go of everything that's happened in the past and wanting to make a clear slate. That doesn't mean we forget about history, of course, because we need to understand history so we don't play out those cycles anymore. But we really have to forgive. We have to forgive each other and love each other. Now, the South Node is on the Sabian. Crowds coming down from the crowds coming down to the mountain to listen to one inspired man. Okay, this is important too. Now we're dealing with the South Node, right? And what do we think of when we hear this Sabian? Well, at least I think about Jesus. Jesus being a man that inspired people that came from all around to hear him speak. And Jesus taught us peace. Jesus preached peace. And if we go back and we read Jesus's words, there's so much information there. Because Jesus did this. When Jesus was alive, he made this transition. He walked this bridge. And he's left us the guidebook to it. The Buddha as well. They have so much to teach. So we can see the Sabian symbol has that energy, and it's Easter time as well, as I said. But this can also be us. You know, we can be the inspired man. We can be that person that inspires those around us. We can be the example. We can be the person that helps bring other people over the bridge with us. But we have to be in our truth. We have to be in our power. We have to not be afraid, meaning we have to step out of the karmic cycle, because so many of us light workers have fear around being our true self because we've been persecuted and punished. So it's an opportunity for us to let go of that part of our past and instead embrace the voice that we had in the past. So many of us have been speakers, writers, teachers, and I see so many of you, and myself too, getting in touch with these parts more and more and wanting to share. So many of you like working on these creative projects where you're expressing this part of yourself, and it's beautiful to see. So keep going with that. Now Mars, the ruler of the new moon and representing the masculine energy, is on a large white dove bearing a message. Now, Mars is the ruler of war, the god of war, and he's on the Sabian about a large white dove, which is a metaphor for peace. So this is also really showing us something about the energies of the planets and where they're at and how the planets are helping us. Do we want peace? Do we want brotherhood? Because Mars is still in Aquarius, squaring the nodes, conjunct Saturn, which is authority figures. And the image that I'm getting is like Saturn is the general and Mars is the soldier, and how this has been perpetrated throughout our history. But we can choose to drop the cycle of retribution and make a new choice if we want to. Now, Saturn and Juno are on the same degree. A big trained bear is waving its paws. Interesting one, because this bear has been trained. It's just doing what it's been trained to do. It's doing something by rote. And how many people do that? How many people are just doing things because it's what they've always done? It's what they've been taught. It's the cycle that we've been living over and over and over again. So here we're being asked to look at what our programming is, how we've been trained, and how does that align, or how can we clear that? Again, it goes back to what we're choosing. And with Juno being on this degree, I think it really speaks to relationships and how we're choosing to show up in relationships. Are we just doing the relationship that we're in because we've been in it a long time? Because it's convenient? Because we don't want to make the effort to change? Okay, if that's true, then you're just that bear just living out what it's been trained to do over and over again. Groundhog Day is what I'm getting. You know, that movie Groundhog Day, where you just keep living that same day over and over and over again. But we have to ask ourselves now, is that what we want? Is that the day? As I said, is if today you had to do it over and over and over again, would it be a day that you would want? Venus is on a garage man testing a car's battery with a hydrometer. It's either a hydrometer or a hydrometer, one of those. So this is showing also that something is reaching a boiling point here within the energy, and something needs to be fixed. It's like we're taking an analysis of what is in our life that needs to be fixed, or where is this failure? Jupiter is on a prophet bringing the new law down from a mountain. Doesn't that go so perfectly with the South Node? And indeed, they're trying each other, I believe. Yeah, Jupiter, South Node in a trine. So this is the new law, though. Truth is going to be revealed. Jupiter is the bringer of truth, and he's revealing what the new laws are going to be. Think about new ways of justice, new information, and new perspectives being brought to us on ways of being. Now, Jupiter and Neptune, Jupiter, this is going to probably be more prominent at the Libra full moon, but with Jupiter on this degree, again, something could be triggered on the world stage. These are definitely, Jupiter and Neptune are two planets that we're going to want to watch as their transit together unfolds. Neptune, the tiny island seems lost in the broad ocean, but its happy inhabitants have created a world all of their own. I think we've had this one before too, because this one is, it's so perfect, isn't it? It's telling us exactly what we could have. It's about a community co-creating the world that they want. and it seems lost in the broad ocean. But its happy inhabitants have created a world all of their own. This is the opportunity that we have. Everything comes through our creativity. It comes through our not manifestation. It does come through our manifestation, but imagination is the word that I was looking for. So again, you have to watch where your thoughts are at this point in time. And if you're not in a happy place, what Abraham would say, if you're not in alignment, if you're being shown contrast with something, then how can you and contrast isn't bad. If you're not in a good place, it's just showing you that you're not in alignment with what you truly want. So I would just say, like, pay attention to those things that are showing you contrast. But what I want to say is, don't go into the old story. You know, if that happens and you start getting hit with some kind of contrast, you have to be aware of where your thoughts are leading you. Are they leading you to that old story? And can you make a new choice to tell yourself a new story? And lastly, Pluto is on a woman reading tea leaves. I say this one for last because it's like, what's our future? You know? And being able to see the future to change it. But like what I'm getting through this Sabian is the future is not written yet. You know, we can change the future. Even if we have premonitions about what the future is. Say we go to a psychic reader and we get a reading and we get possibilities. We get timeline possibilities, but we can always change that. So nothing is set in stone. The future is wide open for us. Okay, so let's talk about the Libra full moon. So we had the new moon in Aries, and that was about our free will making this transition. And the Libra full moon is part of this as well, because, well, obviously the moons always go in pairs, they go in a cycle, and we work on our Aries energy, and then we have to release something from Libra. Libra has to do with how we partner with other people. So that obviously is going to be important as we make this transition. How do other people fit into our lives, and what do we value about other people, partnering with other people as we move forward? Now, Libra also rules justice, and I mentioned that that would be something that we would probably be looking at too. I mentioned that in the last video I did, because this idea of justice is part of that retribution cycle that we need to look at. You know, yes, we have to find justice. It's important when we come together as a cohesive society to have justice for everyone. To that end, though, you know, as we make this shift, we have to realize that all of us will be changing. We won't be, or the people that are coming across the bridge with us, the people coming into New Earth, they're all going to be aligned with their higher selves. So we're going to be a more cohesive group. We're all going to be aligned with each other, or we wouldn't be together. And therefore, some of the things that we have in our society today, as far as things like justice, we're not going to need in the new earth. But as we make this transition, and you know, we're just beginning to make this transition. It's going to be something that evolves, but we have to come to terms with how do we create and maintain peace within ourselves in the face of having other people within our reality. And in order to do that, we have to take responsibility for our relationships, because relationships are just a reflection of us. I already said this earlier, right? If there's distorted energy within you, other people are going to reflect that to you. So when we come into this new way of being, part of the process is being able to witness your own projections within yourself and being able to look within yourself why you're projecting that, and clear that, come to some kind of resolution within yourself. So the Libra full moon, I just want to mention, is on April 16th. As I said, this is the Saturday in between Good Friday and Easter Sunday. And Easter is always a time where we are having activations to raise our consciousness, to become more attuned with Christ consciousness. And I certainly feel that's going to be true this year as well. And this full moon will somehow, for each of you, play a part in how you're witnessing or navigating yourself into this new consciousness. So remember, full moons are released. So likely there's going to be something that's shown to you that shows you how you're still holding an old pattern, especially when it comes to relationships that aren't serving you. And the biggest thing with Libra is codependency. And codependency has been a big block for twins. This is probably the biggest issue that twins have had to work through in order to come together, because to really be in union, you have to have worked through your codependency issues. Or, I mean, you can come into union and still have some codependencies, but you're going to have to work that out through the relationship and being honest with yourself, work through those patterns still, because we're not taking the template of codependency into New Earth, and we're not taking codependency into twin flame union. So, I mean, if you know that you're still holding on to codependency, then you know that that's something that you want to address. But that could be something that's coming up for people, especially if you're still playing out karmic cycles of relationships with other people in your life. You might, as you break free from those karmic cycles, codependency will be something about that connection that you have to address so that you can move on from it if that's what you're choosing. So the full moon is on the Sabian. An airplane sails high in the bright, clear skies. So this is about our freedom. This is about a higher perspective, being able to see the big picture. Again, when we're moving into this type of cycle, has being the creator, you are aligned with your higher self, and you have the 40,000 foot perspective. You see so much. You're not caught up in your own fears, but you see everything that's playing out. You see all the possibilities. You're able to see the truth. Now, I was talking with a friend earlier, and she was telling me something about airplanes being in a holding pattern, and I was like, oh my God, that goes with the Sabian. So the message there that I got was that, especially for twins, you've been in a holding pattern. because of this karmic crud, these karmic patterns, whatever they are for you that we haven't been able to release yet. And maybe that airplane hasn't been able to land. And now, after this full moon and the shifts that we're going into in the spring and summer, it's going to be time to land. So two different things there, two different perspectives about the Sabian for that moon. The sun is on through imagination, a lost opportunity is regained. Again, there was something on this not that long ago. What you're creating is through your imagination, right? I said that earlier. Through imagination, a lost opportunity is regained. I think it might have been perhaps Mars or something that was on here. Or maybe Mercury. I don't know. But the sun is especially powerful on the Sabian because the sun represents our imagination. It rules our creative energy. So we have to remember our imagination, that's our inner world. And then we take that inner world and we project it externally to create our world. So again, this is an important activation that we're getting. And these Sabians are showing us how we're aligning here. Mercury is on a young couple walks down Main Street window shopping. Again, this is asking you, what do you want in your reality? It's like, go window shopping. Go discover what you want. The sky's the limit. Don't let price or obstacles, don't let anything be in your way. Imagine that you can have anything in the world that you want. Just put that in your vortex and know that you are going to align with it somewhere upstream, or maybe it's downstream, somewhere downstream, if you're not resisting. And yeah, I think it's really important not to set limits on what you can have. And if you're thinking about something and then you tell yourself, no, I can't have that, or no, that's too much, or how could that ever possibly be? How could I get from A to B? Then witness in yourself that you're going into some kind of old story and work on clearing that. Uranus, on the beach, children play while shellfish grope at the edge of the water. I like this one because it's showing us how you create a collective reality. The children are in one reality, the shellfish are in another reality, and they're even representing different kind of consciousness where, a human being being one of the highest forms of consciousness on earth, and shellfish being a lesser consciousness, but no less important, no less an important part of the earth and the cycle and how we're all creating this experience together. It takes all different forms. And it is also live and let live, right? That's going to be part of New Earth. So I think that one is a great one to have here too. And there's peace between them as well. The North Node, a jewelry shop filled with the most magnificent jewels. Again, the universe is asking you, what do you want? What can you imagine? Whatever you can imagine can be yours. And what I'm getting here too is you are a jewel. All of us here on earth at this time, all of us that agreed to come and do this, we are all jewels. We're all special. We're all unique. We're all powerful. And there's no limit to what we can co-create. So the south node is on a rabbit metamorphosed, a rabbit metamorphosed into a nature spirit. So remember, this full moon is the day before Easter, and we have this Sabian on the south node about a rabbit transforming into a spirit. So there is this strong influence at this time of transformation and going from, again, a lower to a higher understanding. A rabbit having less consciousness than a spirit, no less important of a consciousness, but it's representing that we or anything can access higher consciousness through transformation, through alchemy. Of course, this being Easter, Jesus is the perfect example of how to transform into higher dimensions. Like I said, Jesus, he gives us the guidebook on how to do this. And I want to reiterate again, there's going to be activations that will assist you in your transformation. Saturn's on a man turning his back on his passions teaches deep wisdom from his experiences. I'm going to say that once again. A man turning his back on his passions teaches deep wisdom from his experiences. So again, here's another Sabian about overcoming the lower aspects of self. So important to this transition. We are not going to be led by our tempers or our urges or by other people when we make this transition. So it's time for us to step into our deeper wisdom and to take that higher perspective and to align with our higher self. This is an important foundation that Saturn is helping to ground us in. I mean, Saturn is a very dispassionate planet, yet it's a planet of deep wisdom and a planet that wants to help us access our inner wisdom. And it does that through lessons, yes, but nothing is created in the material plane without the assistance of Saturn. Now, Juno, asteroid of partnerships, again, very important to this time, is on a butterfly emerging from a chrysalis. So we have transformation around relationships. And we have been in this chrysalis form waiting for this time so that we could emerge and make this transformation. Mars is on a squirrel hiding from hunters. So going within to avoid the outer world. Again, this is something that when you're making that shift into your creator, you tend to pull away from the external world, especially if you're getting contrast, if you're seeing things in the external world that you don't want. What you want to do is pull within yourself and come back to your center, come back into alignment. But on a bigger level, I feel too that this is the new masculine emerging, the new masculine, the divine masculine that a lot of twins are going to start stepping forward in embodiment is not about war, is not about violence. It's about bringing peace, bringing us into community and becoming leaders of these new communities that we're manifesting. We got that too. Remember, Mars and at the Aries New Moon was on about the dove. That was a metaphor for peace. So I definitely feel like Mars is indicating through these Sabians that there's a shift happening in the masculine energy within us all, really. I also have here in my notes that the masculine has a strong inner focus now, and that they're protecting their manifestations from the outside world, especially from their karmic partners and their twins, even. So, when we're manifesting things, sometimes we don't want to take our little creative babies and just share it with everybody. Sometimes when you're manifesting, you want to hold things a little bit to yourself. And that's okay, because sometimes if you share too much, people start telling you, oh no, you don't want to do that. No, that's the wrong plan. And, sometimes people mean very well. They mean to help you and protect you. But if they're not in a higher state of consciousness, then they're not going to understand your perspective, and their advice is not going to be very beneficial to you. In fact, their advice could inadvertently knock you out of your vibration. So yeah, sometimes we want to keep our little projects, our little visions of what we're manifesting tightly to ourselves. And that's what I feel the masculine is doing here. Until higher self shows the next step, or shows how this is now manifesting for them. Venus is on the Sabian. A sword used in many battles is now in a museum. And remember, Mars is the ruler of the sun, and Venus is the ruler of the moon at this full moon. So these are important planets. And the new moon in Pisces was on this degree. A sword used in many battles is now in a museum. Because, yeah, we talked about that, right? And we talked about we need to put the sword down. It goes with ending this cycle of retribution and making the choice to choose love over violence, and solving our problems from the energy of love in a state of passivism, and doing that through inner change, inner transformation. That's how it's going to happen. All of us changing ourselves and bringing that light to the world. Sorry, I think it's getting a bit dark in here. Hopefully the lighting will be okay, but I know that the image isn't that clear when it starts to get dark. But I'm almost finished. Have no fear. So Jupiter and Neptune are conjunct each other at the full moon, and they're on the Sabian, the purging of the priesthood. This is very important too. First of all, it's telling us that we're going to be clearing things, and we're going to be purifying our motives and our desires, so that we can manifest the highest possible timelines available to us. We need to make the changes in our lives in alignment with our higher self. We have to remember that we are the priest and the priestess, but manifesting from free will comes with responsibility, and only those who have detached from their egos enough will be given the reins at this time to fully step into that ability to manifest. We have to be in a high embodiment of the priest, priestess energy, or the magician energy, so that we're all, well, as I said, we're all creating the highest outcome. Now, for the collective, something is probably going to be revealed around this time, that has to do with something on the global stage. anytime between the new moon and full moon, remember I talked about Jupiter's bringing down the new laws, Jupiter's bringing justice, Jupiter's bringing truth. And now when Jupiter aligns with Neptune, that truth is going to be shown somewhere to the collective. And on the 3D plane, how we look at Neptune has the illusions, right? So when these two come together, it's like showing that to the collective energy, that what they thought was truth is really an illusion, or what they thought was an illusion was really truth. It'll be something like that, but it's likely going to bring up some kind of purging energy within the collective, some kind of fear or programming. And then the last one I want to mention here is asteroid union, which is playing a big role here. And union is on a man being unmasked at a masquerade ball. This goes with this energy of the divine masculine that I was picking up with Mars, because the divine masculine, and the divine masculine in all of us, not pointing fingers at the other, because remember, everything is an external reflection of our inner world. So we're all ready to face this. How to unmask ourselves. The new calling for all of us is fast approaching, and many of you are going to start getting more clarity this month. And part of that new calling is going to be revealing another layer of yourself. I talked about this earlier with letting go of the timelines of being persecuted and reactivating your power. But also, so that's like the higher energy. But when it comes to the karmic timelines and the karmic stories and the karmic partnerships that people are dealing with, I feel this Sabian is saying that something is being unmasked. Excuse me, when I'm channeling, I start getting a lot of air moving through me. Something is going to be unmasked in those relationships, whatever those are, whatever those karmic ties are. Like, you may just have to speak your truth. And that could be one of the bombs that gets dropped, is maybe you have a blowout fight with someone because you can't hold things back anymore. You have to take the mask off. You have to say what you really feel. And this is, again, an energy that's going to replay. This is coming up in April. It will also be coming up in August, and it will also be coming up in November. So these are going to be times where each of us is faced with a choice to reveal more of our true self, reveal another layer of our soul, show a little bit more of our identity, allow ourselves to be more vulnerable, especially with our twin flames. Now, I talked about that. We taking the mask off with karmic players in our world. But as we go through these shifts, this year, we have to take the mask off with our twin even more. We've got to open up our hearts to each other. We've got to show each other more vulnerability. That has to happen in order for the alignments to really fall into place. That will be, like I said, one of those choice points. But I think all of you, you've done so much work. I think you're ready to unmask yourself. And these Sabians are certainly showing us that we're ready. We're ready to step out. 2022. Everyone's purpose is evolving, and we're taking a much more active role, and we're becoming facilitators and teachers for the rest of the collective. So like I said, guys, I'm going to be going deeper into the changes. I'm going to be doing another video. I'm still getting downloads about everything that's happening, but definitely look for this in the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I'm guessing I'll put this video out, and it'll be important for twins to understand what's going to be happening. Really exciting times. I hope that you are handling everything okay. You know that most of you that I'm talking to are are ready. You're ready to make this shift. We wouldn't be at this juncture in time if there weren't enough of us ready. So if you would like a personal reading with me, you can visit my website, which is twinstrology.com. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking at my website and you're going under services, there is a drop down tab that separates astrology from tarot. So I know a lot of people get confused with that. And also, if you want a QHHT session, that's not under services yet, but you can search that on my website for details, and you can also email me as well. And the best place to contact me is through email, not through social media, because sometimes I have to step away from social media and I don't answer my messages there right away. Yeah, check out the links below about the affiliate program. If you are looking to buy one of the Intuit oracles, use that coupon code. And happy Easter, happy spring, happy New Year, because I didn't do a video for the equinox. So it's my first time wishing you happy New Year. Sending you all a lot of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Namaste.